Mandurugo in Negros Occidental. Lured by blood and the whispers of the forgotten. Before we dive into the story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Now, let's get started. On a warm day of May in 1991, Miguel de la Cruz, a young journalist from Manila, boarded the plane to Negros Occidental. Drawn by whispers of aswangs and local folklore, he carried a notebook, a camera, and a restless curiosity. This wasn't just a hunt for a story because it was a chance to escape the clamor of the city. Fortunately, Miguel's friend Jerome lived in Hinigaran, just an hour and one bus ride from the airport. They had already spoken, and Jerome had eagerly invited him to stay at his house while Miguel worked on his article. It had been 3 years since they last saw each other, and Jerome was thrilled about the reunion. As Miguel reflected on the countless memories they had shared during their college days, a wave of nostalgia washed over him. When the bus pulled away from the airport, he smiled, excited to reconnect and exchange stories about everything that had happened since. The journey was long due to unexpected setbacks, but it was enjoyable. As the bus made its way through roads lined with sugarcane and rice fields, and just as the sun sets, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, the bus pulled over to allow passengers a brief stop to use the restrooms at a small roadside eatery. Miguel stepped off as well, hoping to stretch his legs. But beyond the soft glow of the eatery's lights, he came across a scene that would change his life forever. There, he saw a frail yet extremely stunning young lady, a haunting beauty caught in the chaos. Her tattered dress clung to her already trembling body, and her tear-streaked face twisted in desperation as she cried out, her voice high and clear, like a broken hymn echoing through the dusk. 3 broad, menacing men had her trapped, their coarse laughter ringing out with cruel delight as they cornered her. The atmosphere is filled with danger. Every instinct in Miguel screamed to act. Without hesitation, he grabbed a heavy branch from the roadside and hurled himself into the scene, heart pounding, ready to fight. "Hey! Leave her alone!" he shouted, while swinging the branch with all his might. The men, caught off guard, lashing out in defiance, but soon retreated after a few well-aimed strikes, and a whistle blown by the town's watchman, who happened to be in the eatery. Miguel's heart raced as he turned to the woman, who now stood shuddering under the moonlight. Her delicate features were illuminated, revealing a beauty beyond words that left him breathless. "Are you hurt?" he asked, his voice softening. She shook her head, her large, dark eyes shimmering with gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice like the gentle melody of wind chimes dancing in the breeze. "What's your name?" Miguel inquired. "Amora," she replied, her lips curving into a shy smile. "It's not safe around here. Do you want me to go with you to the police station nearby?" Miguel asked with a worried look on his face. But Amora shook her head and pointed to the watchman approaching them. "That's not necessary. Mang Ernesto is already here, and I live just nearby. But you are very brave, and I can't thank you enough for what you did." But Miguel still insisted on walking her home, unable to ignore the strong pull he felt towards her. As they walked along the quiet, shadowy path with Mang Ernesto, she shared a bit about her life and how she had lived alone on the outskirts of the town since her parents had passed away years ago. Her voice was calm, her presence quietly captivating. "Miguel, couldn't help but feel drawn to her, moved by her grace and gentle vulnerability. When they reached her small nipa hut, she invited them in for a cup of solobot. The warmth of the ginger tea complemented the warmth in her eyes as they talked late into the night. Miguel felt a strange yet thrilling connection, as if fate had led him to this moment. But as the clock struck midnight, Amora suddenly grew restless. "I think both of you should go now," she said, her tone sounded so urgent. "It's not safe for the two of you to be here." Confused, but respectful of her wishes, Miguel and Mang Ernesto left, promising to visit her the next day. However, a new problem arose. His bus had already left, and the next one would not arrive until 4 in the morning. Mang Ernesto suggested he stay overnight at the barangay hall, as it was the safest place for him to rest. On top of that, Jerome was expecting him to arrive that evening and must be worried sick. But there was nothing he could do. There wasn't a payphone nearby. So, he took out a blanket from his bag and tried to take a nap. But his sleep was fitful, plagued by vivid dreams of a monstrous, harper-like creature with crimson eyes and a tongue as sharp as a blade. He woke up and just kept himself busy until dawn arrived. When the new bus arrived at the stop near the eatery where he met Amora, he boarded it immediately. He needed to be at Jerome's house before 7 in the morning. Otherwise, he'd be bombarded with sermons. Not only from Jerome but also from his mother, whom Miguel calls Aunt Maria. Just as he expected, they were waiting for him in front of their house. Their faces revealed a complicated mix of emotions. It must be relief that he had arrived safely, worry about the long night he must have endured, and a touch of annoyance for keeping them waiting. Despite it all, their eyes softened when they saw him, and the warmth of their presence made him feel instantly welcome and cared for. He told them everything that happened. How the bus was late, throwing off his schedule. And how he ran into some thugs while helping Amora. He explained how he ended up escorting her home, and because of that, he missed his ride and had to wait through the night. As he talked, they listened closely, their faces showing a mix of surprise and concern for what he'd been through. Jerome teasingly asked, "You like her, don't you? I mean, you're not the type to go out of your way just to help some random girl in distress." Miguel didn't answer. Instead, he just grinned from ear to ear. The next evening, Miguel returned to Amora's hut. She welcomed him warmly, but her demeanor was guarded. Something seemed to be weighing on her mind. He sensed it but didn't want to press too much. After all, they had only just met and weren't much closer than strangers. However, they agreed to meet again in the upcoming days. After a few weeks in town, Miguel had grown accustomed to the place. He had met many of the locals and had grown closer to Amora. But despite his growing feelings for her, he couldn't ignore the strange whispers he kept hearing. The stories about an aswang called Mandurugo, a harpy vampire that preyed on men. And the chilling part. Many suspected that the Mandurugo was none other than Amora herself. "Amora," he said hesitantly, "the people here talk about creatures in the night. Do you believe in such things?" Her smile faltered. Those are just some old tales. And I mean just some tales from long ago, she replied, avoiding his gaze. That didn't escape Miguel's attention. As a journalist, he was naturally observant of his surroundings and people's reactions. He sensed immediately that Amora was hiding something from him, and he was committed to doing whatever it took to find out what she was keeping from him. That night, Miguel pretended to leave, but hid nearby, determined to uncover the truth. As the moon reached its peak, casting a silver glow over the vast land of Hinigaran, Miguel watched in stunned silence as Amora stepped into the open. At first, she looked just like the woman he had always known her to be. A delicate and almost fragile girl, like someone you wanted to protect. But then, slowly and in strange, creepy ways, her body began to change. Her gentle, kind face twisted and turned into something unnatural and fierce, almost horrifying. Her soft, angelic features disappeared and were replaced by a face that is similar to a demon with a long, sharp tongue and huge, pointed fangs. Suddenly, large, black wings spread out from her back, stretching wide like ancient shadows woven from midnight silk. Their leathery folds whispered secrets of the dark, stretched wide like the embrace of the night itself. Her eyes glowed with an eerie red light that cut through the darkness. A cold shiver ran down Miguel's spine, and his blood seemed to freeze as the terrible truth sank in. Amora was the Mandurugo. Paralyzed by fear and heartbreak, he watched as she soared into the night sky. He just stared at it as it flew. But what else can he do? Nothing. He can only stand there and watch until it comes back. When she returned hours later, her lips were stained with blood, a sheer reminder of the creature she had become. Slowly, almost as if shedding a heavy cloak, she began to transform back into her graceful, delicate self. The burning gaze in her eyes softened, and the sharp edges of her features melted away, replaced once again by the gentle, serene beauty that Miguel had come to know. Miguel took a deep breath, steadying his racing heart. Summoning every ounce of courage within him, he stepped forward and faced her without hesitation. Amora, why? He demanded, his voice trembling. Why didn't you tell me? Amora was shocked. She didn't want Miguel to see her in that state, but it was already too late. Her dark secret has been revealed. Tears streamed down her face as she reverted to her human form. She wanted to approach him, but it was as if her feet were pinned to the ground. She couldn't even look up to meet his eyes. Though tormented by guilt, she managed to utter, "I didn't choose this life." She sobbed. "I was cursed long ago. Betrayed by someone I loved, that I've tried to fight it, but the hunger, it's unbearable." Despite his fear, Miguel's love for her burned brightly. "There has to be a way to help you," he said, taking her hands in his. "We can break the curse together." Amora's eyes widened with hope, but she quickly shook her head. "You don't understand. I could hurt you. I could kill you." But Miguel said firmly, I'm willing to take that risk." As they both cried, overwhelmed by a storm of fear and grief that seemed to consume them. Their hearts ached with the weight of uncertainty and pain, yet in that moment, they found solace in each other's embrace. Wrapped tightly in a desperate hug, they held on as if their very lives depended on it, silently hoping for a miracle to happen. A chance to rewrite their fate and start a new life together. From that night on, Miguel never left her side. He pored over ancient texts, searching tirelessly for a cure, and sought wisdom from the town's oldest elders, hoping to find a way to break the curse. Their love was tested again and again by fear, by doubt, and by the looming shadow of her terrifying transformation. Yet, through it all, they stood together, fighting for a future where Amora could reclaim her human form. In the darkest nights, their love burned brighter than ever, a beacon of hope shining like the brightest star.
If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more tales like this. Your support means the world. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Kindly leave a comment below.